I want to share a little bit about masculinity, meditation, and grief. And so, in terms of masculinity, why I want to talk a little bit about some of my observations about why men might be having some issues with masculinity, because women have two peaks. I mean, in short, you have the estrogen come up and then go down a little bit, and while it's going down, slowly the progesterone rises up to be a separate peak. And they're both kind of up there for, like, estrogen comes back up a little bit. So you have winter when they're both down, then you have spring when the estrogen is high, then you have like the fall of the woman, the summer of the woman when it's like higher progesterone, little lower estrogen, or like they're both like in the middle. And then you have the fall when the estrogen starts to really fall and the progesterone stays kind of slowly falling as well. Versus men, the hormones is like just testosterone. Some men are like woo doo 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 doo. Some men are like ooh, and some men are like some men slowly build and maintain for a long time. So hormones and so why are men having some issues with masculinity? So I want to say hormones and food, anyone who's been around some of the conversations can say that men are in some ways trying to be women, and it's not natural. It's because of a very deep psychologically and spiritually wounded inner self who almost basically is not allowed to exist. It's all external based. So anyway, hormones and food, wounded women who didn't trust the men and still have the intuitive sculpting superpowers, and instead we're using it to instill doubt and insecurities in men instead of confidence and self-efficacy. Like, he could actually make a difference and he should feel good about himself, believe in himself, which men don't have the skills for, but women do. So they end up feeling like they're going to be better at being a woman. And then parents who raise kids are nonstop on the phones, so the forming identities of the children are not being validated, nurtured to become healthy, grounded in reality. And let me talk about meditation. So some things that come up, I want to just talk about ideas about meditation. So meditation can replace medication or yoga or Buddhism, and it's a lot of different activities in a way, because it could be music, body clearing, connection, energized breathing, releasing, channeling, focusing, shedding the guilt that we're doing it wrong or should be doing it better, or shame that if we were more well we wouldn't need the meditation itself. And there is often room for meditation to be, rather than rigid or intense, to be gentle. And when we meditate, we can meditate via divinity or healing, or like basically we could meditate sequentially. We can meditate via healing, which means like we're doing a healing meditation. A divinity meditation could be like we're connecting with the divine. Sephirot, which is the call them like the spheres really, but it's like in the supernal man, the attributes. There are 10 official and 1 extra 1, which has the upper and lower part called Das. And the chakras, which is part of the Vedic yoga system. And then we have, in terms of meditation, it can be for source, for the roots and the branches, the balance, the transparency and honesty. And it may seem like meditation, you're just kind of not really being productive, it might seem. It could be like, if it seems like unproductive or that it's not using effort, but I know I'm not the same without it, and I'm much clearer and less confused when I do it than when I don't. And trying to maintain and increase and then maintain, maybe we might lose it and have to start again. So sometimes maintenance is important with meditation, sometimes increasing. And it happens to be Zephaniah, the prophet's main message was sincerity, integrity, humility, unflinching loyalty. So we can think about meditation, maybe healthy masculinity, and then of course in terms of grief, I want to just talk a little bit about something I grew up with. When the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the seventh one, passed away from his body in 1994, the people of Crown Heights, where I grew up, couldn't grieve. They were in shock, but since the loss transforms, since loss in general transforms us, and people grow around it, and without being capable of feeling the pain of it, that same heart also blocks love and joy and bliss. They are still, many people emotionally stunted for basically about 30 years. since it happened and part of my life, like, what I mean is that I'm over 33 years old, so I was alive. I met the Lubavitch Rebbe, and then after that, so it's about 30 years ago, which is within the number of the duration of years of my lifespan. Anyway, they were like denying that the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson could be gone from the physical world. And when you raise kids without the coping skills for grief, and it leaves many individuals who were my age, who's still my age, to seek transcendent coping mechanisms through these different means like drugs and rebelling, dancing, sex, singing, and more, just to feel alive, just to lose control, give up control, fearlessly unconcerned about punishment. If avoiding something disturbing for long enough, easily triggered, trying to dominate to prevent any deviation, driving away those who are present with reality, with what is, with the lack that points to what is no longer there and what is needed. And these coping means, we could say nowadays could be phone, it could be food, it could be just, strange things like even someone could be I'm thinking in terms of my age, it could be very involved with like trying to look more and more beautiful, so like appearance based, and even to the point of like needing to feel like they look sexy. So by giving up control just to lose control, fearlessly unconcerned about punishment, if avoiding something disturbing for long enough, easily triggered, trying to dominate to prevent any deviation and driving away those who are present with reality, sounds a lot like codependency and avoidance. So those basically those people who are present with reality, with what is, with the lack that points to what is no longer there and what is needed, in a way, like when we're thinking about sincerity, integrity, humility, unflinching loyalty, this is what gets us through when the grief itself is like, we have to grow. Grief is like a loss. It has to do with love. So driving away those who are present with reality, with what is, with the lack that points to what is no longer there and what's needed, we can actually have what's called a godly surrender, the soul into all the cells, letting go of being divinely inspired. It could be like a music, and it's exploding out. This is the holiness worship versus the idol worship when we talk about God, surrender to God. So I'm going to stop here. This video is in place of the video for Thursday, which was yesterday. All the best. Bye.